My man.
How you doing, Coach?
I'm terrific, Andrew. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
You look like you got the appropriate duds on.
I'm wearing like I'm fit for my job.
Literally and figuratively, you're back. Have a seat, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
I've not been this close to you. We couldn't tackle you when I was at UCLA. I mean, you guys whipped us and then some. What was it? 35-0 down in the Rose Bowl.
I know it was a good win for us. That's what
it was a good win. It was a good win indeed for you.
And it was always so cool to play in the Rose Bowl. That was always because we never made the bowl game. It was after I left. Kevin Hogan got all the Rose Bowl games for that era, but it was always a treat to go down there.
I guess we start with congratulations. You're back on the farm, right?
Yeah.
Whose idea? Whose idea was this?
Our president's idea, President Levin, and I'm thankful.
So you get a phone call, and it's the president of Stanford on the other end?
It actually wasn't a phone call. My wife and I and family, we had plans to sort of make our way out of Palo Alto after I did my master's in education, and I sort of requested an audience with our new president to download on football and share some thoughts. And I realized a few minutes in that he knew it all. That he was well versed in what was going on, both at the micro and the macro.
Which isn't the norm always for presidents. They've got other things on their agenda.
They got a lot of things on their plate, especially today. But in the course of that conversation, he turned to me and said, "Andrew, why don't you run football? Why don't you become our GM?" And that certainly excited me in the moment. Half of me wanted to scream and just say yes and get it over with. But I've got a wife and kids, and we make joint decisions.
Let's go back. You were a star here. You go off into the NFL. I mean, things are going pretty darn well, and yet you walk away. After 7 years in the NFL, I'm looking at my list here. Kirk Cousins, same age. Matthew Stafford, same age. Russell Wilson, same age, still playing. Mm-hmm. Do you ever think about, did I make the right decision there?
No, when I made that decision, it was certainly probably the hardest decision. Not certainly, probably. It definitely was the hardest decision I'd made in my life, and it was the most emotional decision. But it was a finite decision. But I did miss football. It's part of why I'm back in this job. I love the game. I love working on a team. I think the game is important. I think the game is important to this country. I think this game is important to a lot of people. But playing the game, no. I feel great about that decision.
You're good. Your body feels good.
Good enough to ski and surf and get out there at practice and hand some balls off in the pistol. We got fit on quarterbacks in the spring, so I had to pop in. And then I was, I don't mind handing off. I refuse to go under center, to be clear, Coach. It's not for me anymore. But practice is great. I forgot how much I love practice and love watching guys get better. And it's been fun.
You say you love football. It's clear that you do, and yet football's changing. It's not the same college game when you were playing.
Yeah.
You're coming in as a GM. You're aware of that now. Are you happy with where college football is right now, or do you think you can effect some sort of change on it?
That's a big old question, right?
That's why I'm here.
I'm happy to be in this job. Do I think we're sitting at the perfect system of college football, the system for perpetuity? Probably not. There's some adjustments that need to be made. Do I think a lot of the changes are for the positive? Yeah, I do. I think a lot of the changes are positive. Do I think the combination of changes creates some challenges? Absolutely. And look, rigor and rules in a system that allows for parity. Yes, we need, this thing needs to keep getting tweaked and end up in a spot. But the reality is we are where we are today. We're embracing the changes, and we're trying to be very clear-eyed when it comes to NIL, transfer portal, revenue sharing, the combination, how those fit in. We're trying to be clear-eyed about that and still hold on to what I do think is really important in college football. It's about winning and human development vehicle, and young men coming in and growing and self-actualizing and getting somewhere they never thought they could. And that's, sitting in a locker room, that's what gets my blood hot, absolutely.
I can understand that 100%. It is a game that benefited both of us. We have unbelievable amount of relationships from the game and want to preserve the game as best we can. And yet you're now at a school which will be in 5 different time zones in the first 6 games. You are in Hawaii, you go all the way to the East Coast. Stanford in the ACC, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I'm not sure we would have scheduled Hawaii whenever we did this 6, 7 years ago, knowing we'd be playing 3 East Coast time zone games. But look, we're thrilled to be in the ACC. It's competitive. It's got incredible history. I think us, Berkeley and SMU, bring a really interesting product to that conference. And look, we're thrilled. We're excited. We're excited to travel. Shoot, get on a big old plane. Get a good meal. Go play some football. It ain't so complicated, Coach.
It gets down to the big old meal. I like it. The general manager position is a personnel decision. Personnel decisions are complicated at times, right? People are complicated. I always say to people that ask about football, football's not so complicated. People are. You were faced with a really tough personnel decision with Coach Taylor. Troy Taylor was under some investigation about what went on here at campus. I don't want to get into that. Probably you can't talk on those subjects. But you made the decision after Thursday saying you're all in with Troy, and then on the following Monday, we're going in another direction. Did you learn from that situation?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm appreciative of Coach Taylor and what he did here at Stanford. But absolutely, I learned from the situation and made a decision and had full conviction in it, and still have conviction in it, and thankful it worked out with Coach Reich, him being here in that relationship. We talk about relationships, but look, I've learned on the job. I mean, in many ways, I feel incredibly prepared for this job and have felt, and in many ways, it is a learn every day, right? And it's part of what's so fun. Learning, it's life affirming, right? Going through a process, saying, yeah, we did that well, or hey, we didn't do that well. Let's learn from it. And a lot of it is what I learned playing football. There's a feedback loop, right? You go, you play the game, you watch it, and you learn from it, and you move on, and you have practice, and you learn from that. So applying those principles to this job has certainly made me feel like we're getting somewhere.
How much of that film room where you go and learn from mistakes comes from your dad, who's had a myriad of jobs in athletics? Been all over, was an athletic director himself at West Virginia. You grew up in Europe. It was NFL Europe, had some dalliances with other leagues, and been here, there, and everywhere. How often do you lean on him for, hey, what do you do in this situation?
Oh, all the time. There are days I call my dad 3 or 4 times. And look, he was my hero growing up, right? It's part of why I wanted to play quarterback, because of him. And I realized, like, oh gosh, I'm in the family business now. I'm getting into sports, just like him. But he's been an amazing resource for me and all my siblings, and I know a bunch of other folks. And I'm grateful I can call him up, hey Dad, how are you looking at whatever's coming out of the White House today? How are you looking at what's going on over here? How do you think about this? He's a great resource, and I'll probably call him after this.
Frank Reich was the officiant in your wedding. So obviously you feel pretty good about him, right? As you are considering how to replace Troy Taylor, you go to him. Was it an instant reflex, or how did you arrive with Coach Reich?
The timing of our coaching change was odd. I mean, it's mid-March. It's off cycle. It presented its unique challenges, and Coach Reich was the first name on my list when I realized that this was where I was going. And so he was my first call. He was intrigued enough about this opportunity for the year, and it worked sort of with where him and his family were in life.
Does it feel like a partnership?
Oh, absolutely.
You and he kind of arm in arm. Then why do you say only 1 year?
Oh, that's what worked for Coach Reich, and it's what worked for us. And he was retired, and I don't need the
even if you have a fantastic year.
I'll say when we have a fantastic.
Okay, I like that.
Fantastic year, Coach. No, it is, and look, as you know, it's also there are challenges with how everybody knowing your coach is only here for a year. There are downstream consequences to it. But we both, I had a half a second fleeting thought, like, hey, we leave it open-ended, but we both were in such agreement that this was a one-season thing. And we thought, honesty and transparency is best for all.
It leads to another question about the future of Stanford. And I was here watching you play when, great things were accomplished. Coach Harbaugh was here. By the way, someday you're going to have to tell me your favorite Jim Harbaugh story.
I got a lot of them.
I bet you do. But how when you're putting this all together in your mind, how do you get back to those glory days where so many great players? I remember right outside, Trent Murphy was getting ready to play the Bruins, and I'm going, we need to get a guy that looks like that. Levine Toilolo walked by, 6'8", right, and so forth. Where are you in terms of attracting those kind of guys in a world where the transfer portal can easily come and take your guys, but it's hard for you to go and use it in the same way given the academic restrictions of a place like Stanford?
Yeah, this is part of the question I'm asking myself every day, and we as a team are asking ourselves every day, is how do we keep building? And one, it starts with great culture, right? And teaching great football, and we're certainly doing that right now and taking incredible steps forward. And it's about people. It's about the young men in the locker room and attracting great young men to this locker room. And I'm incredibly proud of the guys that are sitting in our locker room today, including we had more transfers than ever come into Stanford football this past season. That gives us a great chance, especially with experience and age, because it can be challenging if you're stuck in a cycle of playing young guys who might not be ready over and over and over again, when a transfer portal perhaps is set up easier for guys to leave than come in. But look, I think we got something good going on. I believe it. And you mentioned Coach Harbaugh, Coach Shaw. Both of those coaches had profound effects on me, on how I approached this job. And I know when I was being recruited by Coach Harbaugh, there was an incredible conviction from him that we were going to win, that he was going to go find people, coaches,
Did he
players.
climb a tree? Did he climb a tree when he came to recruit you?
He did a lot of things. But his recruiting of me was pretty simple. I was probably the simplest quarterback recruit he's had. I knew what I wanted, and Stanford was it. But look, I'm really excited about how recruiting is going. I think we have a unique offering here. Our academic standards certainly create challenge, but it's also what makes us different. And we're different on the marketplace, if you will. This place is special. We're serious about football. We have an incredible history. I mean, shoot, like when I came here, I wanted to be like Jim Plunkett and John Elway, and then I learned about John Brody and Frankie Albert.
And yet John Elway never went to a bowl game.
Nope, but
So to play for the big prizes, which you did, it takes a unique blend of talent as well as this, balanced opportunity, education, and athletic prowess. It takes all of it going in the same direction. You were here for part of it. They're trying to extract that from you, obviously, which is why you should run the program. I just wonder how you're going to get it done.
Well, we go everywhere to find the best. We do. We recruit nationally. It's one of the things that's unique about our locker room is we got every region of this country represented and well represented here. And we have to. We got to go find those unicorns out there and make sure that this is the place for them.
Speaking of unicorns, you just hired a new athletic director, John Dano, who comes with this background and CEO of Nike. I mean, the guy has had an incredible business career. Now he steps into the world of athletics. Your meetings with him, is this an ally? Is this a guy that can help you get to where you want to go?
I'm thrilled, and I'm thrilled with our president, our leadership of the school, and our search committee, and for John Donahoe to join. I could be more impressed. I think both his humility, he's sharp, he's got a wealth of experience that I know I need to learn from, and so I'm thrilled to collaborate. I'm thrilled to work with. I'm thrilled to have a mentor. Building a team.
You are in charge of football at Stanford. Tremendous opportunity, tremendous responsibility. Describe the role of GM to anybody, because GM's not part of college football, wasn't part of the lexicon.
Yeah.
We've heard general manager at the NFL level. They are the guys who have the binoculars, look at all the players, evaluate how fast they are, how strong they are. What's the role of GM to you?
Yeah, well, there is a spectrum of GM responsibilities across college now, and just about every program has one now, and it could roll from being, solely
some of them are
focused
agents.
on. Yep.
Some of them are, Jim Nagy came from the Senior Bowl, right? You're out there, in having a wonderful life post NFL. Have all kinds of opportunities. I mean, you're choosing to be a GM.
Yeah, yes, I am choosing, and I feel very privileged to be able to choose. To do what I want to do, what makes sense, what aligns, and this certainly, I feel an incredible amount of purpose and passion around this. And if there's a spectrum of general manager in college football, from sort of those that are focused on personnel and recruiting, to those that are running a program, certainly on the running the program side, and that's what's part of unique about how we've structured it here at Stanford, is that like a professional organization, I the general manager, sit at the head of it. So it's a lot more outward facing in many ways than perhaps other GMs in college football. I'm doing a lot of fundraising, doing a lot of selling Stanford football.
I saw you on the phone making season ticket renewals.
Selling season tickets, working with our university, spreading the story, getting the Bay Area excited about football, getting our community excited about football. And we have an amazing team. I have amazing associate GMs, assistant GM. We have our director of recruiting and personnel does an incredibly heavy lift, right, when it comes to filtering through scouting and players and that force. So, but look, trying to describe my job, it's a lot, and it's fun. It's keeping me on my toes.
Well, it definitely is a lot. There's no question about it. Do you see yourself staying in this role for a long time, or are you just so in the present you can't look that far
It's one day at a time. That's how I played. That's how I played football. That's how that's part of why I love playing under Coach Reich, because it is a stay where your feet are, stay rooted, stay present. Certainly in this role, unlike a player, seeing the macro is important, and a path to sustained success and winning and competing is vital. But you don't get there by living there all day.
People look at this as a collision. The college football game's on a way to become part of like the NFL, right? We're professionalizing the pay for play. We're not going to recognize it as what we all were nostalgic for with college football. How do you get them to say it's still a great learning opportunity for these young people?
Well, it is. It's still a college athletic scholarship, and I think a football scholarship is an incredible opportunity for a bunch of young men in this country. Yeah, it's messy right now, right? And it does seem like a few things are maybe getting forgotten, the soul of college football or what makes it special. But I have a bunch of conviction and feel very confident that we will get to a system, hopefully sooner rather than later, that keeps the spirit, that keeps the ritualistic sort of special goofy. Us in Berkeley, we play for an axe, right? And it means a lot to these people. Rivalries mean a lot. Traditions mean a lot. This is, college football is intergenerational. People. I grew up rooting for West Virginia.
You don't have to tell me. I'm with you. I love this game.
And I don't think it's.
I can feel that you have a deep love affair for this.
Oh, I do, and I don't think I think the business side can coexist. I absolutely do.
You mentioned you play for an axe, the rivalries, the portion of the game that we all look forward to each and every Saturday. How do we keep that? How do we make sure with this, you traveling five different time zones in 6 weeks, how do we keep what drives the fans back to the gates and wants them to come to the game? How do we keep that?
Well, when I think of the micro answering that question, for us at Stanford football, it's be competitive. Being competitive opens up a whole bunch of doors and gets people excited. I certainly have felt that. So, my daily focus is on providing our players and coaches with the best resources, opportunities to go play, practice, teach great football. And then, I think we have to be clear-eyed at sort of the macro, at the 10,000 foot view of where the trade-offs are, where the compromises are. And college football's, it's a weird structure. Conferences have a bunch of power. There is no singular group in charge. And in many ways, that's what makes it wacky and fun, right? But I think keeping ourselves intellectually honest and clear-eyed about where the trade-offs are is going to be important as this game keeps evolving.
You mentioned weird. Okay, I'm bringing up a couple of stories that I read about you.
Well, let's see.
Flip phone.
Yeah.
We still on the flip phone, or you've gone to
I have joined the dark side, and I don't just have one iPhone. I have two iPhones, Coach.
Holy smokes! Okay, 10 o'clock curfew for you. Is this a fact? You were rigid on 10 o'clock curfew?
10's generous. I love being in bed at like 9:15.
You're a 9:15 guy. You realize in this coaching world, that's not possible.
That's why I'm GM and not coach.
Okay, how about this one? Is it true you ever went to a restaurant and ordered everybody's food without consulting? Or is that just rumor and innuendo?
That may have happened once or twice when I got
You literally ordered everybody's food?
I got a little too big for my britches, and as my wife says, there's a time and place to be a quarterback, and then there's everything else.
The coolest thing you bought your offensive lineman when you were quarterbacking for the Colts? I just saw that Burrow bought samurai swords for his guys.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anything I ever did was cool like that. But getting fitted dress shirts, every couple of years we'd go to a tailor in Indianapolis
Fitted dress shirts for the
get
O-line.
fitted dress shirts for the O-line, and because it's hard to buy off the rack.
How much material?
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but I know every now and then Ryan Kelly and Quentin Nelson, who are still playing, will send me pictures of some of the floral patterns that we all did together.
We miss you. Okay, you're going to remember this play. You're playing SC.
Yeah.
Sharice Wright picks you off. Mm-hmm. Describe the hit.
Yeah, it was a.
They're going to show this video, so
it was a fumble. I think we fumbled at the. We were just trying to run the clock out at the end of the half.
Okay.
We weren't.
It was a fumble, not a pick.
It was a fumble.
Thanks for the clarification.
You're welcome. I remember it. And Sharice, we had some great battles with him. I mean, I remember him doing some unbelievable things that game as well. And man, it just lined up to where I didn't carry my fake out very well. So I was sitting there and I saw the fumble, and I saw Sharice pick it up. And look, when you play quarterback, you just get hit a lot. And it's very rare that you actually get a chance to flip the table and deliver the hit. And I was in the right place at the right time, and I shot my gun, and I didn't back down, and it felt good, I'll be honest.
How do you feel about Captain Andrew Luck, the parody account?
Thanks for bringing this up. And a lot of
it's important that we do.
I need people to know it's not me. It's someone else. This person has a much better sense of humor than I could ever have. I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny. I think a proper parody account, that stays clean and that has proper humor is good for the internet. And
Clear eyes.
Yeah, and I'm happy to help it in some way.
And last but not least, you and our colleague at CBS, Roy Hibbert, have something in common. Do you know what that is?
Indianapolis. I remember watching him on the Pacers. I remember spending time with Roy. What else?
You both were on the program Parks and Recreation.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
You want to take us through that stint on the TV show?
Well, I had a couple opportunities to be on Parks and Rec, which was sort of. Every now and then when playing quarterback in the NFL, every now and then, at least I experienced a pinch me moment, and that was it. Parks and Rec, Pawnee, Indiana, coming to Indianapolis. I think one of the episodes was a bachelor party, and those are cool. I mean, those were pinch me moments.
You're in for a lot of pinch me moments. You're into this.
Life ain't so bad.
Life is wonderful, and for the folks at Stanford, they got to be giddy. All the best.
Appreciate it, Coach.